bro. Hello, hello, hello. Wrestling all day, every day, the podcast episode 2, Sean. Jay and Sean.
Man, we're doing big things on number 2.
Number 2. We're looking for number 5. Whoever watches this, call me. DM me, call
Hey,
me something.
I'm just saying, we're doing number 2 on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh man. Yeah. I should have like a margarita or something. Like, I don't know. I'm lost. You got big plans?
Hey, man,
Anything?
I'm drinking Rio Punch, so I got that for the both of us. That's
I got
Brazilian.
that Kroger water, bro. How's your
Crazy
week?
motherfucker. Man, my week has been chaos, dude. My Friday was chaos, and but outside that, man, my weekend's been great, man. I spent a whole bunch of time doing nothing.
Same.
Yeah.
Got it with the 1-year-old. You don't do much.
Well, you do a lot. You're being dad.
Well, yeah. You know what I mean. You don't get to go do things. You just do things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You don't get to have all that crazy madness fun. You just get to have a little bit of fun. Speaking
right.
baby language. Yes, sir. So today, man, we got
Man,
really,
I'm excited. Yes.
We were talking about this before we hit record, man. Kentucky Iceman, Chris Eckos.
Bowling Green, Chris Echo, Kentucky Iceman. I'm interested in finding out what the Iceman means.
You
Not
know,
Marvel, Kentucky
yeah,
Iceman.
dude, I'm telling you that shit reminds me of like Chuck Liddell, man. Like no
Oh
joke.
yeah, dude. Oh yeah, for
Hey,
real.
hey, no joke. Like I was afraid of him when he jumped on camera and he was like, here I am. This is me.
That's it.
Yeah, he even got that Chuck Liddell kind of look, man. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him on with the Kentucky Iceman. Let's fucking go.
Let's do this.
No, wrong.
What?
What? Oh, no. There it is. There it is. We got Eckos. What's up, man?
Thank you, Chris, man. Appreciate this. Yeah.
So we're gonna start. So go ahead.
No, you got it, Sean.
All right, man. So give us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What you do?
Well, Kentucky Iceman, Chris Eckos. I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I've been in the wrestling game. This actually makes my second time. I started around 2007. I quit about 2012, maybe 13. I've been back in wrestling now for about 9, maybe 10 months or so. I don't know, man. I fell out of love with wrestling. I don't know. Okay, there's a whole lot of shit that goes behind that. Why I chose to step away. Why I chose to come back. But that's me.
That's awesome. You came back. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back, man. And there goes a lot into that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But I think my first question that I have to ask is, what is your first memory in life when it comes to professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, something else? What is your first memory?
Well, I mean, I got a lot of memories, because for me, wrestling started in the backyard. I'm a backyarder. There's several of us guys on the Tennessee circuit that are backyarders, who started in the backyard. Not only that, but my uncle's a referee. I grew up, my best friend, his uncle was a wrestler. So I've always been at the independent shows. So, and not only that, but on Saturday mornings, sitting in the floor growing up on Memphis wrestling, that's, a lot of my memories where where this really started for me, the love of pro wrestling.
Absolutely, man.
It started in Memphis. You said that was your that's a love. That's what started your love was Memphis wrestling.
Some of it, not
Yeah.
all of it. More. I fell in love with wrestling on the indie level
Oh yeah, I got you.
before I was ever introduced to TV and.
Right.
But at that time, Memphis wrestling was considered indie wrestling.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys. A lot of people know this, some don't. But my gimmick is themed after JC Ice.
I was wondering that.
Absolutely, yeah. With permission, I traveled a little bit with Jamie. Got
Hmm.
to meet Jamie. A lot of stories there. Some I'm not really going to get into. But Jamie's a wild character, and not only that, PG-13 was always my favorite. If you know about PG-13, in the old days they had a midget with them, and the midget was actually from Bowling Green. His name was Danny Midget D. And I had met Danny when I was younger. Wild character, dude. Crazy guy, good guy, but that's really where my memories start is at an independent, local wrestling show for Dale TNT Man.
And that's wild, man, because like you don't hear a lot of those stories. Your story is very rare, right? Here in
Yeah,
where I wasn't grown up on WWE, right? Like I was raised in the backyard. I was raised in the indies, watching indies. I have a full backstory of the indies, man, and that's really rare and very awesome, man. Really good to
yeah.
hear.
I mean, I watched WWE, but that's not what exposed me to wrestling. Exposed me, was the indie scene, going to the shows, and I always enjoyed that more than watching, you know, the TV shows. Not that I don't watch, I do watch. You have to be a student of the game. So,
Well,
but
it's
at the same time, I love indie shows. It's just a certain feeling you get being there.
it's the you pay $400 or $500 to go sit in a seat crunched up on somebody at WWE. You
Yeah,
know, when I took my kid, I decided one day to just take my kid to an independent, man, and there's just you take yourself back to that kid. Like I've got kids, and like I've been a fan since like I'm like 37 years. But it's just there's nothing like indie wrestling, man. And that's why I'm so passionate. I know when I say it every time, but there's nothing like you guys. You guys work harder, you interact more. Like I do watch, like I said, the TV shows like you do, like you said, but there's just nothing like an indie show, man. To see that, and like my daughter, my daughter will yell at somebody, "You suck," and then they turn around, they're like, "Excuse me, you suck." It's just like just
yeah.
seeing their faces, man. That's why I push so hard, and you guys kill yourselves. So that's all I had to say about it. I could like Sean knows I'll
Well,
talk
I
all day
mean,
long about the passion, but
it's the same for me. I have kids too. My son is
yeah,
16. My daughter's 12. She loves live wrestling. Really don't
that's
watch it
awesome.
on TV, but she loves the indie shows. And my son's all out, wrestling anything. He loves it all. So, which he's also in training. Probably the next year or so, there's going to be a baby Eckos out there somewhere.
There you go.
So
That's awesome. That's
that's the
Well,
goal.
goddamn. Well, goddamn.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Creating generations, man. I like it. I love it.
That's man, like being on the Tennessee circuit, that's the going thing right now. When I broke in 2007, a lot of the guys I worked with, their dads, I worked with their dads, and the guys I'm working with now is the sons, so
That's so cool.
it's wild for me, like for instance, cousin Condry, his dad Lee is the one who broke me in the business. If you don't know what broke in is, that's basically where your first match you get the dog shit beat out of you till you
Yeah,
tell them I quit.
I've heard
and
that. I've heard people
I
say
never
that.
did that. But one of my first matches coming back into wrestling was against cousin Condry. So that was really cool. How that all kind of worked out. Uh, but I mean, at the same time, that's kind of how this wrestling world is, man. Is the second generation talents are where it's at.
The
Yeah.
future, man. That's what I try to tell these people. I'm like, you guys are the
Absolutely.
future, dude. Where do you think that's? I try like my daughter. That what I got her to go. One of the main things. I'm like, where do you think John Cena came from, baby? Where do you think Rhea Ripley came from? These people don't just walk out of their house and walk into these bigger names. They come from independent wrestling. Like
Yeah.
John Cena, didn't he come from OVW? I mean, they come from independent, and that's what I try to make people see. Your heroes were independent wrestlers. So now make the heroes today. So when they get big, you're like, I was a fan since then. Anyway, I
Yeah,
get super
absolutely.
passionate about it, man.
No, absolutely, man. There's, I used to live in Alaska, and I've been to a few indie shows up there. And one of their biggest females that was up there, her name is Freya the Slayer. She now
Yeah,
is an OVW.
yeah,
I just watched her 3 weeks ago at CCW.
Yeah,
yeah. You
she's a
know,
fucking animal.
She's cool.
that's another thing about being on the circuit, man. Like I said, you got to be a student of the game. So when I say I quit, I didn't stop watching. I know everybody around. There's not many names in this Tennessee scene you can say, whether it be a low level guy or a high level guy, that I don't know of. I watch and study everybody.
Right. Yep.
Just so I'm not out there doing the same thing as everybody, and not only that, if you're not competitive in this, you're not going to make it. So
You have to be.
all the time looking at the next guy. Oh, hey, he's good at this. I'm going to do this. It's just kind of how this
Speaking of
goes.
Yeah, speaking of backyard wrestling, man, like one of the things that really intrigued me was JCW, man, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it.
So right now, if you haven't watched those guys now, dude, they have a amazing show going on. It's adult based, but and to be honest with you, that's the end goal to make it to JCW. Uh, you know, that would be awesome. A lot of the guys like Ricky Morton, Kerry Morton, those guys are working weekly with JCW. They're running towns all the time.
That's cool.
Damn.
And like you said, from what they come from to this now, it's a really good show, man. They have a lot of good guys. Willie Mack, Matt Cross, like Facade. There's so many good guys on that card. Not
Yeah,
not to mention the Tennessee guys that are on that card. That were trained by Ricky Morton up there.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely,
that's
man.
it's a very good show.
Being from the Midwest, man, who were some of your favorite indie guys when you were growing up?
So obviously Ricochet is probably my most favorite now. But growing up, the headliner Chris Michaels,
Yeah.
Ty Blade. These may be names that you're not familiar with. You may be familiar with.
Chase Stevens.
Chase is a little after I got into the business. I
You got
like
to throw him in
Chase.
there somewhere.
I was actually just on a show with Chase like 2 weeks ago. I love Chase, man. If
He's a
you've
cool
never been
dude.
in a locker room with Chase Stevens, without going too deep, it's very fun to be in the locker room with Chase Stevens. That dude is a wealth of knowledge,
He's
and
wild.
he's very very humble. And I'll quote it. What he said was, "Man, just because I've been on TV don't mean I'm any better than you. I'm here to
That's
serve."
it.
I was like, "Holy shit, man!"
That's
Just his
real.
personality. But Chris Michaels, Ty Blade, Victor Bruiser, Hot Chocolate Corey Williams, Styling Shane Eden. These are names that these Tennessee guys are going to pop for, because that's really what made me fall in love with wrestling. Those guys, meeting those guys, and and in this area, those guys are like royalty.
Man.
Nice. That's awesome. Those are some good names to be around. I mean, you said Ricochet and Chase Stevens, and then the other gentleman. That's awesome. You said that you broke into the game and then you left the game. What were some of the reasons why you decided to leave wrestling?
If you're comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, man,
Yes,
I'm
if you're
absolutely
comfortable.
comfortable.
Case.
Yeah. It's not anything bad. Well, technically bad why I left. Well, the first reason is, in just being truthful, I'm a small guy. I didn't really work out. Um, I connected with the fans, so I was in a lot of places with a lot of big guys, which at the time, I was young and I felt like I was a jobber. I felt like I wasn't gaining any ground. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, man, I was a jobber, but I was jobbing to the best of the best. So um, between that, falling out of love with wrestling, that kind of made me fall out of love with wrestling. Felt like I wasn't moving forward And then young and dumb, I got a DUI. I couldn't travel. Just being young and dumb. And
We've been there.
but like I
Yep.
said, when I look back at that, the places I was, the people I was wrestling with, I really was moving forward. It's just everybody around me was doing so much more. I don't know. I kind of fell out of love with it.
Man, you remind me a lot of the when you're talking about that. You remind me a lot of of James Ellsworth, man. You're like the James Ellsworth of the Indies,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, yeah,
I can see that.
But here's the crazy thing, man. Is like your resurgence back into it. I guarantee you, you're a lot bigger now than you were then. Not physically stature wise, but like character wise.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is so the Kentucky Iceman. I've always been the Iceman. Like I said, years ago, JC Ice Jamie Dundee, he blessed me with being able to use the Iceman. So I have the blessing for that. But coming back into this, what is the Iceman? So for me, it started as Richard LeBlanc, the serial killer. He's cold hearted. Chuck Liddell, he's a fighter. So I just kind of mixed the two, the little cold hearted MMA fighter type deal from the streets. That's kind of like what the Iceman was. So coming back into this, a very good friend of mine, amazing dude. His name's Aaron Camaro. He was like, "Hey, bro, why don't you put Kentucky on it?" And at the time, I was like, "That's really stupid." I was like, "No way, that
Oh, I want to
doesn't
put
sound
that.
cool at all." But and the way he played this character off, which is I'm basically a Kentucky supremacist. In a way, Kentucky's better than everybody. Depending on where I'm working, what I'm doing. But so we put that he put that together, and then I've just kind of ran with it, man. Sometimes I'll come out with KFC chicken. Like I do all kind of different things, man. Like we have this gimmick chicken. It looks like chicken, but it's like 2 or 3 pounds a chicken leg. You know what I'm saying? So I'll get this out and I'll use it. Man, I'm really having fun with this.
That's the point. Yeah, man. You got to go
Yeah,
with the gimmick
absolutely.
too. Like
I,
you
I
pick up a
listened
gimmick,
to I listened to LG3 and I seen the,
dude.
the milk
Yeah,
thing, but I'm not really in the circle with those guys, so I
yeah.
didn't know what it meant. But now, yeah, man, that it's just
It's yeah,
crazy how gimmicks like that will pop up and work, and
yeah.
the people when they see the chicken bucket, they already know, like
You got that running. Like I told him, that where Jake made fun of him. Just made fun of him. Said he's gonna put him to bed
yeah,
and give him. And I said, run with it. Run with
yeah,
it, man. You got something, dude. I told him I said get stickers to put on little bitty, milk bottles. Run with it. Stone
hmm
Cold with spirit, you could be the milkman.
yeah,
So
Dog, and you could be that stereotypical like Kentucky boy, right? Just think of what a stereotype is and just run with that shit,
yeah,
right? Like I know a typical. If I was a wrestler, I know a typical Marylander what they would be like pompous piece of shit. I would
yeah,
do that, right? Like I know everybody outside of Maryland is like, man, the Maryland's them fucking them goddamn Northerners, right? I know
yeah,
that. I've been called it, so why not use it, right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
are you a
But
are
then
you a
if I
heel?
say, but then if
yeah.
I say that then if I said I lived in West Virginia, they'd be like, you goddamn redneck.
Yeah,
So run with it.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jay.
redneck. I live in Tennessee.
Currently, I am currently working heel, but I work baby too. I'm really doing two shows right now. Just because I haven't really reached out. Not because any typical reason. It's just that I'm not ready. The guys that are coming after me, they see something. So not that I'm not seeking other things. It's just myself. I'm still in the gym every day. Trying to get my body right. I look better than I did, but I'm not there where I want to be yet. I got a couple guys that train under me, and I try to put this into them. You know, when you go to buy a car or anything, you always want to buy the best one, you know, the prettiest one. Everybody wants the prettiest one that's, you know, looks the best. It's no different wrestling, man. You know, you got to look the part. So, but like I was saying, I'm mainly working heel. I love to work heel. I don't really like the baby aspect of it. Um, and it's weird because my day-to-day life, you know, I'm a supervisor, so I'm constantly talking to people, and I have to be nice to people, which is really sometimes very hard. So when I'm heel, I can just kind of be free and let me go, you know, like
That's what I would want to do. I
all
just
that
pick up
built
that
up
bad day.
animosity, all that built up
Hell yeah.
animosity throughout the week, I can kind of let out.
Hell yeah, man. That's fucking awesome, man. So you talk about your first match, you know, when you first broke into business.
Yeah.
Now, what was that first match back like for you? Like, was there a lot of ring rust? Were you sore afterwards? Like, what was it like for you?
Well, so like I said, the first match coming back in, I can't remember. So it was either my first match back was either I'm pretty sure it was Cousin Condry, and then right after that was Chris Crow. If you know those,
Yep.
both very hard hitters. These guys are not pulling no punches. We work a very strong style. Um,
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, yeah, we might have lost him for a moment. It's fine. It's cool. This will
He
be
goes
a
over
good
the.
time. It's cool. You know, I think, you know, honestly, man, the Kentucky Iceman, I think that's a really cool concept, right? Is you don't hear too many people bringing out their state. Ah, you're good, man. These things
Yeah,
happen. You're good.
I
I
think
hit
it's
the
definitely
wrong
cool.
button. But where were we at? I'm lost.
You were hitting the hard style, bro.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
oh, oh, oh. So coming back in, Condry and Chris Crow, very hard hitting guys. So the main thing for me that I noticed very quickly is that my cardio was in very bad shape. And when your cardio's in bad shape and you take a bump, it just knocks the wind out of you. So we had about a 8 minute match planned, ended up being around 4 minutes. You know, so I mean, other than that, every match, you know, once you get out of this and you break back into it, um, your body kind of conditions to the bumps, the pain. So I'd been out a long time, yeah, man. And even now, you know, after a show, I come home bruised. Like, unless you've ever really been in a ring, you know, the ropes will burn your back. You'll have rope burn, like literally. Like, looks like you've been burnt with a rope across your back. That's every show for me. Uh, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just us pale white guys. That's kind of how it works for us, you know. Uh,
I feel your pain, dude. I burn when I step out into the sun. 5 minutes,
yeah.
I'm done.
I'm proud of you for getting 4 minutes of a match in. I probably couldn't even get in the ring. I'm
I
like,
mean,
can somebody help me in the ring first?
the one with Crow was a little better, but you know, at the same time, I was kind of nursing you know, a growing injury. I didn't do so well, and he beat the shit out of me. But you know, it is what it is. Love to work the dude. Amazing wrestler. If I had to pick one of my favorite on the Tennessee circuit right now, no offense to nobody, I like a lot of you guys, but Chris Crow is the truth right now. That dude is the total package. He can walk, he can talk, uh, he looks good. And
Nice.
this isn't rehearsed. Me and this guy doesn't talk. I'm just being honest. You know, as a fan, that dude, 5 years from now, man, he might be something dangerous.
Need to put him on our show.
Yeah.
Need to find him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What has been some of the hurdles that you've had to face, like either when you were in prior to or currently now, whether it be mental, emotional, physical? I know you talked about being a smaller guy, so it's harder to work with some of the bigger guys. But what were some of the other hurdles that you had to face?
Well, just on being the small guy, I don't know, getting good opportunities. Not just that. What the main hurdle is finding something that works. Like a lot of the guys, you'll go out there and see them do a bunch of moves, and that used to be me. I want to go out there and do all this cool shit, but um, tying wrestling together, why you do what you do, the psychology of the ring was really hard for me. Really hard for me to get, and I think now that I'm back, I get it more than ever. Um, but at the same time, stress, man, stress. You're always your worst critic, and I always was my worst critic. Even now, um, I'll come out of the ring within 10 minutes. I have the match on my phone, and I will sit there for the rest of the night in the dressing room, picking my things apart that I don't like, which and they used to be really unhealthy for me, but now it's I look at things a little different. I have a couple guys that I send my matches off to that give me feedback. Um, but man, I mean, it's all in how you take it. Wrestling's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, you kind of need to quit because
In the
that
wrong business.
absolutely. We all got in this to make money. Everybody makes money, but we really started off as fans. And it was fun. So if it's not fun, you need to quit.
Yeah, I think it's really smart that you don't beat yourself up as much and you send your matches off to other people, right?
Yep.
Because what you just said, you're your biggest critic, right? So you're going to sit there and pick apart shit that you don't think is right, but then somebody else that may have a different eye for the game looks at it as like, no, man, that shit works. Like you got to trust yourself sometimes.
You like constructive criticism. Like I'm one too, man. I criticize myself. Like I do websites and things. I criticize myself all day long. You're a
Yeah.
perfectionist like me. It has to be perfect to you, or it's not gonna. It can't work. Like you have to do it until it's right. I get
Yeah, man.
it.
And like let to peel the curtains back a little bit. I'm a supervisor at work. So I constantly have to give people criticism, and for me, I feel like if you can, if you give it, you got to be able to take it.
Amen.
So and when I say I send these out, these are veteran guys that have been on the circuit 20, 25 years, that work a different style than I work. Like one of my main things that I really don't like, is the way I Irish whip. So I'm all the time, like, hey guys, how can I do this differently? What am I doing here that it looks so weird to me? Like, and then some guys will watch it and be like, man, you're tripping. It's fine. But there's just something about it, that I don't like. But
Oh, I get it.
it's just little things, man. That you pick up from the vets. It could just be a step, a hand placement, But
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, like I said before, I think it's smart that you're getting a second opinion, right? Because we're all granted a second opinion in life, we just don't always take it. And so, like, even if it's something that you love to do outside of work, and and this has been a part of your life for goddamn probably your whole life, uh, you
long
know,
time.
yeah, long time, long time. I think it's really important, man. It's really important to get that second opinion. Um, so moving on, man. What is your style like in the ring? I know you said that you've been in some matches that were strong style and stuff
I
like
was gonna
that.
ask that.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
your style?
So I would say I like the strong style, obviously, and then if you say that in front of a real vet, they're gonna say, "What the hell is strong style?" So that's a newer thing for us generation guys, because what the vets call strong style is beating the hell out of each other. Uh, I mean, I'm just being real with you. You say that to a vet, and he's gonna
Yeah.
say, "You're fucking crazy. You're supposed to work." But the strong style is, it's hard hitting MMA type style. technical high flying, a little bit of brawling. That's really my style. You know, if I were to pick somebody that I guess that my move set, which is another word that the veterans hate, move set. Um,
That's that WWE 2K25 talk.
yeah.
Get with the
But you know,
times.
it is what it is.
5 moves of doom.
Some
Yeah.
guys have five. Some of us have a little more than that. It is what it is. But I would say like a Aleister Black, you know,
Oh, he's
Malachi,
mean
whatever
good.
you want to call him. Dude. Hard hitting, flying. He can technical wrestle. You know, just kind of well rounded.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to me, your style sounds a little bit of a mixture between Japanese strong style and like British strong style, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You know, I'm a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I love that style of wrestling. And that's really the kind of wrestling that I wanted to do. And that's another part of early days of me quitting. That style was not necessarily accepted around this area.
Oh,
Um,
wrestling is not wrestling anymore nearly what it used to be.
Absolutely not. You know,
No.
it was hold for hold type thing, the Memphis
Yep.
style, which it still works. Guys still make very good money doing that style, but like I said, I think wrestling has evolved.
yeah,
You
There's
know,
not a
to
lot of
where
grapplers.
maybe
There's
you
not,
feature the Memphis style and the strong style on the same card. I think that works the best.
so, do you have a signature and a finisher?
Uh,
Always got to
yeah,
ask.
yes and no. Signature is just something I do every match. I don't know. I never see guys do Russian leg sweep anymore. So
Oh, dude, I love it.
uh, I whip to the corner, follow with the knee, walk out with a Russian leg sweep.
Yes.
Um, I've been doing this kind of trio o double stomp. Uh,
Oh, nice. Nice.
then I guess finisher would be. I don't know, man. I'm kind of floating back between doing the skull crushing finale, which it's again being a small guy. It's not something where I'm going to be able to flip these guys around and do something crazy. It's got to be something quick where I can hit them out of nowhere.
Like a brainbuster
Uh,
type deal.
Maybe. But there's another guy on the circuit who is probably the best brain buster guy. That's Toby Farley.
Dude,
Uh,
yeah, he's bad. I watched him wrestle at CCW.
I
I
love Toby.
don't hate and kill that guy.
He probably
Anyways,
doesn't remember me, but like I said, these guys, I go way back with these guys. And that's another thing. I don't want to step on nobody's toes. He's the best at it. Not saying I can't do it, but I just don't do it out of respect
right.
for guys like that. But it's either going to be skull crushing finale or the future shock DDT.
Yes. That's a good
Something
one.
quick I can
That's
hit on a guy any size.
I like it. I like
yeah,
it, man.
quick and fast. Got to be.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we hit on this last podcast, right? Like the finisher should be something that you do, and it's a match ender, right? Like no kicking
Yeah,
the fuck out. That's what I hate, man. And like I'm gonna say this: a lot of the newer generation, you see guys doing 8,000 super kicks in a match, eight
yeah.
thousand destroyers, and it's like you decimated what was once a great finishing move and sweet chin
And
music.
spears.
And the Canadian
Spears, remember spears and super kicks.
Yeah,
spear.
yeah,
Make sure you get them in your match, guys.
Seriously, make sure you get that spear and that super kick in there. They're not gonna like you.
yeah. It's fun to watch. Hey
It
guys,
is.
it looks great, but at the end of the day, so there's another guy I like saying names. Damian Wayne,
Oh, he's a
been
bad
around
dude.
the circuit.
He's yep,
Damian Wayne says this thing, and it's true, man. In a real fight, would you do that shit?
real
Real
fight
fight
shit.
shit. Real fight shit. In a real fight, would you do that shit?
I need to get
No.
him on here. I've talked to
Man,
him
dude,
some.
you want some real
I need to
raw
message
shit?
him.
That's a good one for you right there.
Yeah, I need to talk to him. He's a cool
Amazing
dude.
hand, dude. That dude is amazing. His mind is amazing.
He was the first match I actually saw at CCW. Well, he wasn't one of the first match, but he was there the first night that I actually went for the first time. He was there. He's awesome. Yeah, for sure. We need to get him on here for sure. I need to message him.
Yeah, man. There's so many of these old guys. I call them old guys. Sorry for that. I'm 35 myself, but
I'm an old guy to you.
I love to be in the locker room with these guys, man. You know, like Chase,
The
uh,
stories. I couldn't imagine.
Damian Wayne, and not only that, the criticism. You know, the not necessarily maybe not criticism, but the I don't know. These it's easier to listen to somebody who's been there. You know.
Yep. They can relate.
And to be so humble, you know, a lot of people don't know. Damian Wayne was on the show Heels.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was. Oh my god.
He absolutely was. Was one of the main trainers that worked with
Mhm.
the Steven Arrow guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude knows wrestling. He is amazing.
Yeah, and I think and once again, like I think it's really smart to get that feedback and that constructive criticism for veterans, right? Like I I was in the army for a hot minute, right? And I know that if I was trying to get information about something, I wouldn't go to a private where like somebody who hasn't been in service as long as I had, going to somebody that had years upon years of service or like multiple deployments, whatever, just for that knowledge that well of knowledge that they have. And so like same for you. I think it's really smart that you're surrounding yourself with veterans of the game, students of the game, because like getting yourself around a rookie ain't gonna fucking help you, man.
I mean, that's the truth. You know, until you come out of your comfort level, you can't grow, man. You know, so.
Well, wrestling shouldn't be about. I mean, it's flashy now. It's all about flashy, and it shouldn't be all about flashy. I mean, I look at people
Right.
like as their moves and everything else, but unfortunately, like you said, it's unfortunately is what it is these days. Wrestling's not wrestling anymore. It's
No.
entertain. Well, it's still entertainment, but it only like indie wrestling's wrestling. I think that's why I like it. Indie wrestling's wrestling. Like you guys, you have more moves, and even if you didn't do as many moves, there's not as much like you interact with they interact with themselves. Sometimes they'll throw in like the bigger dogs will throw in interaction with you. That's what
Yeah.
makes it so much different. And that's why I push so hard and it's so magical. Is because people don't realize that. I know I said that earlier, but anyway, I could say that all day long. But that's my point. Sean knows, dude. I'm a talker.
He loves to talk. You give him a microphone, this man will go for an hour.
I can't stop.
Uh, it's gonna be one of those things where I'm like, okay, Jay, calm down, Jay. But anyways, man. As far as like as TV now and like what's happening, whether it's in AEW, TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, WWE, who are some of the who are some of the wrestlers that you like to follow?
So, again, Ricochet. I know the flippy floppy stuff, but I love Will Ospreay. That dude is amazing.
Yep.
Everybody gives him shit, but that dude is a storyteller, man. Long term storyteller. Braun Breaker. Dominic Mysterio, I think right now is the hidden gem, bro. 10 years, maybe not even that long. That is the baby Eddie Guerrero. Um,
Mhm.
love to watch the guy. May get a little heat for this, but Tessa Blanchard is another one. I know she's got a bad name, but that she's money, bro.
Yep.
Money. So
Yep.
good. Stephanie VcQuire. Um, let's
Yeah.
see.
You gotta like
There's
EO, man. You gotta like
so
EO.
many. I do. I do. I just haven't had as much exposure to her.
She's just
Uh,
wild.
Braun Breaker. I love Braun
So
Breaker. That dude is another one.
look at his
Star.
dad, man. Look at his
Yeah.
dad. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, 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 oh.
Gunther. Um,
Dude, he's a good wrestler. I mean, sorry, we'll get on that
very
after.
good. Very good. Ludwig Kaiser. But to swap it back a notch and you go indie level, I love Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona is And not so much. I ain't gonna say that I like Matt Cardona's ring work, but the dude is an absolute marketing genius. And not only that, but he'll give small hints to guys like us. How to make it, how to be seen, how to do things differently. Um, I don't know, man. There's so many right now that I follow. Johnny Gargano, I really follow his work. I don't know, man. There's so many. Like I said, I'm just such a student of the game. I can't. I can't. If I
You
had
get
to
a new
pick
you get a
10,
new
I
fan now.
probably. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I could go on and go on. I watch all the time watching wrestling some way.
I think I have a lot of respect, as a fan, from a fan's perspective. I have a lot of respect for Cardona, right? Because like he could have just hung up the boots and said fuck it, it didn't work for me, and that's it, right? But he picked it up and he ran with it. He created this whole persona for himself that in a way he reminds me a lot of Cody Rhodes when Cody left WWE and he went and bet on himself. That's what Cardona is doing, and Cardona's running this shit. I love it.
Killing it. Yeah. Killing
Absolutely.
it, man. Yeah.
You
Yeah, and like the thing is you never know where he's going to be next.
That's I think that's the best part, and I mean obviously can't be healthy being on the road like he is. I know he's doing very good at it, but man, dude, that would be awesome. Vegas today. I mean, he might fly into New York tomorrow, like Canada the next day. Like,
Well, I mean, if you've got a wife like Chelsea Green, you got to stay on top of it.
and
Come on, come on.
that's I mean, it's got to be hard, dude. I
Yeah,
commend the man for being able to do that. Plus,
and I
absolutely.
commend all of you guys
eat
for
right.
doing what you do.
Yeah, plus eat right, stay in shape, tan. The dude always looks like he just got, like out of a sun tanning booth. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gunther, and even when he was Walter, like on in NXT UK, and then in the actual UK circuits, and then everywhere he's done work in America, like that man is literally the product of what I think of a professional wrestler, right? Like that dude took himself and like looking at younger pictures of him where he was chunky as fuck, and then like to now that man is a shit brick house dude, and like it's crazy. Brick shit house. I fucked those words up.
yeah, man, that's another one. Gunther, he's amazing. That's
They don't.
another one. I'm sure he gets it. I would love to be a fly on the wall, listening to some of the vets talk about the way he chops. Because it's strong style. You know what I mean? That's strong style. But the vets are going to say, "Y'all, you boys are out there beating the hell out of each other." Like, and with that being said, those the older vet guys, they look at it as longevity in the game. You can't go out there and do this for 25 years beating the hell out of each other like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, Gunther is amazing. I do agree with you, but
There's a lot of people that go get their like. Have you noticed that they're trying to take everybody back to the Attitude Era? Have you noticed that, Sean? They're trying to
yeah,
take WWE. So Chad Gable's Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
could sit down, but Chad, I think he's a very good wrestler. I look at wrestling as wrestlers. It doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be a performer as far as like flashy, but like as far as wrestling goes, he's another one that I think they don't get their credit. And another thing, I can't believe they got rid of Braun Strowman, bro. I have to say something about that. What in the world? I could get the rest of them, but
I can
man,
say something about that.
uh,
But
anyway,
this ain't about me. This is about Chris
yeah,
Eckos.
let's
This
get back
ain't
to
about me.
Iceman.
I've got an opinion too on Braun, and like I said, I'm a student of the game. I think Braun, his appeal has kind of faded. Um, he's not that main event star anymore. He's lost a step with his injury. If you don't know, he's like 15% paralyzed in his leg.
I
He
didn't know
doesn't
that.
move. He doesn't move. He doesn't move well. Um, he's more of like at this point he's like a special attraction type thing, kind of like
Goldberg.
Kali. I mean, I guess you could say that.
He's
I
even got
could
his
see
tattoo,
that.
man. He's even
I
got his
could see
tattoo.
that. But I just don't think he is the guy that's worth $750,000 a year anymore. If that's what he makes, I don't know, maybe less, maybe more, but
Something
I
like
just
Yeah,
that.
don't. When you rack the numbers and you look at what he brings versus what you're giving him, I don't think it adds up.
Well, they're having to bring back the old guys, man. They're to bring back the legends to kind of grab people back into it. I mean,
well,
it's
no,
not. Huh?
and that I was gonna say that, Chris. I was gonna
Oh,
agree with you, man. Is that like his injuries have limited what he's capable of doing now, right? Like if you look at his last two appearances or last two matches, that man ain't moving nearly as good as he used to do, right?
No.
And like they've used him as a novelty act, right? As like a big show kind of personality, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it's not bad. It's not bad, but that character's kind of faded over time, right? You bring him in to allow Bronson Reed and Jigga Fatu to get over, and it served its purpose, right? And I think that there's a lot of outrage over some of these releases, but you got to look at them. Half of these men and women that got released are very injury prone. Why are you paying them to sit on a bench?
true, true.
that is true.
Yeah,
In my opinion, just my opinion alone, I think the one that I'm the most upset about is Shayna Baszler.
yep,
Um,
Yeah, yeah, she was good. Yeah, yeah,
Fire, dude,
yeah.
fire.
I didn't get that
For
either.
to come out of MMA and to pick up as well as she has, dude, she's amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
I think I was upset about that, and I have another wrestling podcast that I do once on the weekends, and I've always been really big on Shayna Baszler, but I've also been very critical of the fact that she hasn't been booked great, right? Like she got booked like a goddamn monster in NXT, right? Took out everybody. She got called up to the main roster, and then she had that phenomenal appearance in the Elimination Chamber, and then after she lost to Becky, she hasn't done shit. She retired Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey didn't do the job for her the way that she should have done, so it really limited what she could do. And then it was just all downhill from there. It fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean that's that's the thing about the big wrestling companies, man. You got so many guys like me and my son have this conversation all the time about why ain't this guy here? Why ain't this guy here? Because when you've got 50 golden coins, how do you pick one? You know what I mean? Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
really
Yep.
really hard to do. And there's only 6 7 matches on a show. That their roster right now is probably 250 guys, 200. That's they don't have the shows to feature all these people. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. And I think one of the other things too that really, I'm not gonna say it played a role in these releases or other ones, but like the online criticism
Oh
of
Yeah.
fucking sucks, man. Because like, you when people when this set of releases happen, I had seen people saying, "Oh, somebody should end Triple H's life for this." Like, you're calling for the death of somebody because
yeah.
I was like,
Listen,
dog, this is literally like an industry, right? Where like it's like, and I hate to say it's like compared to Walmart, but it's like if you worked at Walmart and they say, "Hey, man, we're cutting back," and you're fucking sorry, you're gone.
yeah.
It is what it is, man.
Business.
Yeah, it's business. But anyways, man, uh, if you could pick two or three people, it could be indies, it could be big, any promotion based. Who would you pick to work with?
So, well, man, that's a good one. I thought I knew this, but I don't know this yet. So I think as far as pro level, just because I don't think I'm ever going to get that opportunity. I would love to work with Dominic Mysterio or Braun Breaker, but something on this level that I think is a very high possibility at some point. Kobe Carter, um, LG3. These don't even have to be stars. Like I said, I'm a student of the game. I love to wrestle good wrestlers.
Maybe blow your
Uh,
mind.
any guy coming out of the Jacob Pritchard's Wrestling Academy, dude. I mean, those guys produce talent. Um, I'd like to run it back with Chris Crow. There's got to be a run back with me and Sean Hoodrich.
The Snake Man.
Man, the Snake
He had on a
Man.
Tracy Smothers shorts the other day at CCW, man. Tracy
Yeah,
Smothers, dude. He's a legend,
that's
man.
that's I never got a lot of time around Tracy. A few
Yeah,
times, but a lot of the guys that I've been around were with Tracy a
yeah.
lot.
He's a good dude.
Uh,
He was a good dude.
yeah. I'm nothing ever bad to say about him. These guys, what you see in the ring and what you get in the dressing room is a total different story, man. Tracy was a trip. Very good dude, but these dudes are, they're fun to be around. You know what I mean? They're like, it's not, you would assume it's sit around and talk wrestling talk, but a lot of the time it's really not. These guys are fucking wild.
That's cool, man.
Enjoyable to be around.
Man, I've known Colby since he was 17, bro.
Yeah, and
I worked at
I've never
Best Buy
met
with
that
him.
guy. Yeah, I've never met him. Like I said, I'm just a student of the game. I
You busy
watch.
Saturday?
Actually, I do. I got a show. Yeah.
I was gonna shoot you down to Cedar Hill. Which I don't know if you knew. I don't usually mention it out here, but I work for Pro Wrestling Entertainment, so I know like half the guys. But I
Yeah.
was gonna invite you to a show, but if you're busy, we're having one in Cedar Hill in Tennessee Saturday, and Colby and
Yeah,
Jeff Jarrett and a whole bunch of people. So if you ever
like
get
like I
free,
said,
man,
yeah, like I said, man, I'm a student of the game. I'm watching every promotion around me. Pro Wrestling Entertainment, Jason James. Like I said, I go
yeah,
back. These guys,
that's my
I was a
dude.
lot younger. They may not remember me, but yeah, I know all of these guys, man. Wish them success. Eventually, I'm working to get there.
You get to shoot down this way, son.
CCW, man. All those guys. Eventually, it kind of wrestling how it works is either the promoter sees you or somebody mentions you. So one of those two things are going to happen soon, and I'll
Well,
be that way.
that's what this is for, man. I
Yeah.
know this isn't big right now, but once it takes off again, you could pop in another time. It's gonna get big. It's just gonna take time.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys need
yeah,
to be seen. I mean, and we can do it. Me and Sean know enough about wrestling. We know enough about podcast, and we know enough questions to get you guys seen and shine. That's my goal.
We know all
So,
the right questions.
what'd you say?
I said we know all the right questions.
Hey, that's it. He knows more than I do. I'm more of, I used to do ghost stuff. Like I own a paranormal team. So I just throw that in there kind of, but that's where I met Sean. He actually interviewed me for my paranormal team. And then, yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at now. So but
cool.
this has been
Yeah,
awesome, man. Seriously,
Jay, you got any questions?
man. I don't, I was going to ask you about Saturday, but he's busy Saturday. You should message me
Yeah,
for real.
I'm
Uh,
booked. I'm booked
I'll help you
Saturday.
out. I'll help you out wherever I can, man. I know a few people here and there. So stay in contact.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't have any questions, man. I'm just honored that you came on. I was excited. I was hoping it would work out. I'm just honored we had the time and
yeah.
taking your time out of your personal life to come on and talk wrestling and with us, wrestling
Yeah,
fans.
man. This is only my second podcast. Like I said, back in the older days, this wasn't a thing. So I watch podcasts. I work third shift, so all night long I listen. If I'm not listening to music, I'm listening to a wrestling podcast.
That's me.
I've listened. I don't want to plug anybody else's stuff on y'all unless y'all are cool with
Go
You're
for it,
that.
good.
man.
Go for it.
Uh, there's one that I enjoy that brings on a lot of the Tennessee veteran wrestlers. It's called "Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling,"
Yep. I
and
mean, I follow them.
dude, I love the guys they bring on because these are the guys that I grew up watching. That kind of honed my skills too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna hunt them down now.
yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
message
true
Damien as soon as I
too.
get off here.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
man.
I've been doing podcasting for four years now, maybe. And I never watched podcasts, listened to podcasts before, and like now I'm hooked on like Chris Van Vliet. I love his interview
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
He's just another human being that is doing human being shit, like and I find it awesome, man. And that's kind of his. He motivates me to keep going. But yeah, man. So I asked this last show, and I want to ask this again, man. What are 3 things you're grateful for?
Well, first and foremost, my family, my wife, my children. Um, this is the second time my wife has sacrificed, her personal life for me to chase my dreams. And with that, I got back into this because like I said, my son wanted to wrestle, and that was the easiest way back in. Um, I'm grateful for wrestling. Grateful for God. There's so many things I guess I could say that I'm grateful for, but those would be the main things right now.
Awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And then finally, before we shut down shop, what's some advice that you would give to younger guys or guys and gals that are thinking about stepping in the ring and training to be a professional wrestler?
Well, the easiest way put is there's not a such thing as a halfway crook. So if you're gonna get into this, you're gonna have to dive in. Training, just for a little backstory, when I started training at 14 years old. I lived in Bowling
Mm.
Green. I couldn't drive. My parents took me an hour and a half to Gallatin, Tennessee, once a week, actually twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, because they were in a weekly show. So 8 times a month, my parents would do this. Plus, I was still in high school. So not only did I sacrifice, my parents sacrificed for me to do this too. Um, you've got to work out, man. I said this in another podcast that hadn't come out, but I'm gonna say it again. My first 10 years in wrestling, I never lifted one weight, not one, not
Mm.
one, not one. And that I think that's a lot of the reason I never got the footing I wanted. Is because it wasn't that I looked bad; I just didn't look good. So you got to work out. You got to eat right. Um, And then, you have to latch on to what these veterans, maybe find you one veteran that's maybe not even been to the WWE. He just semi made it and kind of use his recipe. Um,
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like those guys are willing to help out any guy. Like, I was
absolutely, man.
talking to Damien about it, man. I was like, dude, your match. I said, man, you put that guy over so well. I was like, I know I hate that, you guys have to do that, but man, you did the job, man. It was awesome. I went up, shook his hand, told him it was just awesome.
I
Yeah,
think the days of like on the indie scene, most of the time those guys like that, the big name guys are used as special attraction. If not, they're almost used as enhancement talent to
yep,
make the local guys look good. And Damien and those type guys, Chase, they're humble enough to be willing to do that
right.
and give you feedback. Yeah, man, amazing dudes. I love to be in locker rooms with them.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man. That's awesome.
Well,
This has been
Chris, thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us and allowing us to share this space with you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome,
Absolutely.
man. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. And you got new fans, 2 new fans.
Yes,
Been a pleasure, guys. Thank y'all.
What'd you say the
absolutely.
other day, Sean? What was it? Wrestling? What is it?
Oh, people are fake and wrestling's real.
People are fake, wrestling's real. That's like the
Yeah.
mic drop.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Love
mic
it.
drop.
Yes,
Gotcha.
that's
All
the mic
right,
drop.
all right, y'all. Until next week. Until next time. Be
Yes,
good.
sir. Talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
Appreciate it.
Peace.